Hi, this is Liz Coyne with Light Reading, and I'm here at Big Communications event in Austin with Philippe Morin, CEO of EXFO. Philippe, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and EXFO?
So EXFO, let me start with the company. It's headquartered in Quebec City, so Canadian-based company, about 30 years old. That started really initially in test and measurement to help service providers turn up their network, fiber, wireless. But over the years, we moved into much more about monitoring and service assurance and analytics as well.
Okay.
Just joined the company about 15, 16 months ago. I was prior to that at Sienna and Nortel.
Okay.
And then just been put in the position of CEO in the last month. So it's been fairly new position.
Yeah, so you're here at BCE
Yep.
talking about test and measurement, and right now there's a huge transformation, as you know, going on in communication networks. So I wondered if you could talk about the impact of that transformation and especially virtualization.
Yeah, when you actually look at what's happening with the service providers, the CSPs and the MSOs, they're looking at ways to modernize the network, and they do it with fiber. So they put fiber everywhere, closer to the customer. We're on the next step of implementing 5G. We're in they're upgrading their data centers with cloud services, and then virtualization and the intelligence on top of that is now starting to be deployed. And without downplaying all of the great innovation that's taking place on the fiber and high speed and 5G, I personally believe that what's happening with virtualization in terms of the functionality that it can bring and the intelligence this is a new paradigm shift. And this is really big because it really allows now the service providers to be able to really offer an on-demand business model, on-demand bandwidth, on-demand quality, on-demand scale. And that's what virtualization and the intelligence on top of that actually brings.
Okay. So this morning you gave a keynote and you talked about boosting a network IQ.
Yeah.
So what is a network IQ?
Yeah, the idea is to actually bring a bit of a color on what do you mean by, when you say network IQ, is if obviously we believe that in order to move into a much more on-demand network, being, especially in the context of VNFs and NFV, the bringing more intelligence into the network so that ultimately you can operate, maintain that network will be really critical going forward. And this is what boosting your network IQ is. So you got to design your network right off the bat with the context of bringing more self-healing, resiliency, and learning capability. And you also have to bring more intelligence into this from your sources in your network, from your probes in the network, and bring that into an analytics platform. Okay,
so what does it take to boost your network IQ? What do you have to do?
So we believe there's 4 major key blocks to really boost your network IQ.
Okay.
And it starts with how your actually early life cycle or early validation, early stage validation of a service or a technology. That's what we commonly call about simulators. So simulating your new service either into your lab, or ultimately with VNFs, you can actually simulate your new applications into your network. That's the first one. The second one is how do you leverage probes that are in a network so that ultimately, whether they're physical or virtual, that you can get data from the network that allows you to really better understand at the subscriber level, at a network level, or even at the service level, what's happening in the network. So that's the second point. The third one is bring more automation and orchestration of all the different scripts and testing procedures that you need to do. We actually call this test orchestration. In the SDN world, a lot of people talk about service orchestration. We actually believe in order to provide better network IQ, you also need to implement test orchestration.
Okay.
And the last piece of fundamental block for boosting your network IQ is the analytics, and we believe that the key thing there is real-time analytics. So being able to get the information from the sources, from the network, from the probes, and through KPIs, really provide proactive actions to ultimately bring more intelligence into your network.
Yeah. So you talked about the importance of analytics.
Yeah.
Now, and it is so critical, you said, to really get the intelligence out so that it can transform the network. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
See, analytics, when people talk about big data analytics, it's such a wide field.
Right.
What we're talking about really is network monitoring, network performance monitoring, analytics. So ultimately, the information on how a particular service is happening, how a particular VNF is performing, we believe that's that network monitoring capability. And the real-time aspect is really critical. Today's analytics platform will go and probe the network every 15 minutes. But as you go to a non-demand world, where VNFs are actually going to push information to the analytics platform, you need to do this real time and not just rely on information being pulled in from the network.
Okay. So you also talked about real-time active topology.
Yes.
Can you tell me what that is and why it's so critical?
See, one of the challenges service providers have with all the different, and whether it's legacy services or future services, is what do you have in your network in terms of your inventory, but as well understanding logical and physical topology.
Okay.
Things in the networks tend to be changing a lot. MPLS maps tend to change, and then imagine now with VNFs, when you're used to a network that was very predictable, very connection oriented, and now you're going to have on-demand network functions being deployed in network, a new service being set up and decommissioned in a matter of hours depending on the service. Understanding your topology in real time is really critical, and that's why we felt that, especially as we move to a virtualized world, topology, real-time topology will be really important to the success of bringing, again, more intelligence into your network.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for joining me today, Philip.
Thank you.